What's up, everybody? Welcome into another episode of the 1796 Sports Podcast. First things first, let's start with the bad, Jim. Pretty horrendous series for Tennessee baseball this weekend. I wrote about it Thursday night before the series. I said, pretty much anything less than a sweep is going to be pretty disappointing going into these last four series. Um, and boy, did they not sweep them. They ended up losing the series 2-1. After winning Friday night pretty handily. Then they get shut down by I've already forgotten that kid's name in Kentucky who like
McStay,
yeah,
uh, future used car salesman.
we made him look like Randy Johnson. And then of course today it was kind of the same story. You just couldn't buy a hit when we needed it. Um, I mean, there's a lot of things to work on for this team at this point. What's your read on it, man?
My read is if Liam Doyle isn't pitching, we have a problem. Um, Liam Doyle obviously did his thing. He gave up that early 2-run, home run early in the game, but after that was lights out. And he has been all year, so I'm not gonna say anything else about
Mm-hmm.
him. But I mean, Marcus Phillips got to go to the bullpen. I mean, I'm no Tony Vitello, and Tony Vitello knows way more than me about baseball. But to me, Marcus Phillips got to go to the bullpen. I mean, he did good in the early part of the year, but bro, it's you get someone on base, they're stealing right away. Like they're stealing, and it's not the catcher's fault. You can't even get mad at the catchers. Uh, by the time the ball gets to the plate, they're halfway to three-quarters of the way there.
Yep.
Um, and every team's doing it the past 2 weeks. Ole Miss, Kentucky, I think stole 10 bases on us that night.
I
That's
think that
nuts, bro. 10 bases, that's like half a year stat, kind of. Like you don't usually see that a lot.
yeah.
But but yeah, the pitching's really worrying me. The bats will come around. I mean, baseball is baseball. You're gonna have weeks like this where you just can't hit, and which is fine. You're gonna have weeks like this where you're gonna lose to a team that you shouldn't lose to. Um, but you got a tough road coming up. You got a lot of big time series against top 10 teams,
Yep.
and you got to win them. If you want to host regionals and super regionals, you got to win them. And right now, this year, it doesn't look like home field advantage is a thing for this Tennessee team. But yeah, that's my focus is figuring out the other two pitchers, man. I mean, Marcus Phillips just looks like he needs a kind of like a Chase Burns, get him to the bullpen for a little bit. Um, because I just don't know. Tegan
Yeah.
Coons has been decent. I mean, he doesn't get an opportunity like Phillips did, where Coons looked like he was figuring it out towards like when they took him out, and then I don't know.
Yeah. It's just a lot of things compounded at the same time here this weekend for Tennessee. Phillips has had the issue. We saw it last week really for the first time where actually hurt Tennessee was what Ole Miss did to us, and then we played the second best team in the country stealing bases, so that was not a good formula there. Um, I will say for Phillips, it's impressive that he even made it through 5 innings with everything that went on. Um, I think it proves that he is good enough to start. He has to control the running game. I don't know if that's something that can be fixed in the middle of a year, which is why when AJ Russell was full go, which he's getting closer and closer. I mean, it's either going to be Phillips or Coons heading to the bullpen. I don't think there's any doubt about it with the way it's been going. Like you said, outside of Doyle on the weekends. I mean, I texted you this when we were having our normal when Tennessee's playing bad argument. Um, you know, coming into this weekend, we were still top five team ERA, and but the I really analyzed that now and looking at it. I mean, that's against some of the middle to bottom tier teams in the SEC and the non-conference schedule, and it's getting worse and worse as we go along. So it definitely has to be fixed. I mean, I 100% agree, and hopefully Russell will help that whenever he's back. And then as far as the hitting, you said it. I mean, it's the most cyclical thing in sports is hot and cold streaks hitting. I mean, it's going to come around again. Um, and I tweeted this too this afternoon after the rubber match went final. I mean, we kind of had the same issues last year. We like
Mhm.
at this point last year, we pretty much trusted Beam on the weekend, and that was about it. And we were dealing with Billy Amick's errors and errors from other people too. So
Yeah.
it's not that much different than where we were last year, and we also have the same record at this point. But the difference is our schedule is way harder down the stretch than it was this time last year. So
Well, not only that, I mean, we got blessed with Xander Seacrest at the end of
yeah,
the year. He didn't become Xander until late in the year.
it was like the last one or two SEC series where he
Yeah,
really
and then the
turned it
SEC
on.
tournament, and then he turned it into Omaha, which was
Yeah.
fantastic to have something like that happen. But hopefully they figure it out because they have the talent. I mean, they have the talent in that pitching staff to come up with something. But I'm thinking you may start, you know, Coons, maybe have AJ Russell come out of the pen on Sunday, and work it that way. Where if AJ Russell could give you 2 innings, that's
Mm-hmm.
fantastic. But yeah, they'll figure it out. I mean, Tony's gonna figure it out. I mean, they probably already have a plan, on what to do because I also think when it comes to hitting, I think Keelan needs to be the leadoff guy. I think, and I'm not nothing against Dean, but Dean's not doing amazing at the leadoff like Christian Moore was,
Yeah.
and I think Dean would be a better suit to being in the two hole, to where Keelan's a get on base guy
Mm-hmm.
and Dean's more of a power threat, but that's just me. To me, the top 1 through 6 guys could be anywhere. Like, I mean, you could mix and match whatever you really wanted to, but
Yeah.
um, I'm not hitting the panic button.
Yeah.
It just frustrates me more because you lose to Kentucky.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, besides last year, Kentucky's been a thorn in our side. I mean, in 2022, that was the only SEC series that Tennessee lost was at Kentucky. So this is nothing new. I mean, for some reason, Kentucky plays well against us in baseball. So, but um, you were saying earlier, I mean, if Tennessee doesn't get it straight, you mean they're at the risk of not even. I I think they'll host a regional.
Yeah, oh yeah.
I think right now the risk is not hosting supers, assuming you even get that far if they can't fix it. But like you said, I'm not panicking. I think another reason this is happening is because like none of the freshmen are really playing as good as they were. And I think that's just the reality of you're halfway through the SEC, they're all hitting the wall. I mean, it just is what it is. But as soon as one or two of them turn it around, I think the lineup looks as dangerous as it was a month ago. I mean, that's all it's going to take. And I don't. I mean, for me, who I want hitting leadoff is probably Inslee at this point, just because he's a veteran. He's the most tenured Vol at this point, and even in the last 2 days, he's the only one who's gotten us RBIs the last 2 days. It's like even when the whole team's down, he's still able to get you some production. So
Yeah.
I would probably put him lead off, then Killen after that. I think you need Bargo at the top somewhere, and then maybe Curley, and then Fisher in the 5 hole. But
Yeah.
like you said, it's all interchangeable, really. I mean, it's just they all have to get right. So it's just as simple as it gets. I mean, and like you said, Tony has a plan because this has happened in
Mm-hmm.
2023 too. It was actually far worse, and I say it all the time. You're 5-10 halfway through that season, and they still made Omaha. So he has a way of manipulating the lineup, the pitching staff, the whole approach to get things right. At least in these last 2 years.
Well, yeah, and like we brought up, if you don't host a super, it's really, obviously you want to, but worst case is Tennessee's been playing really good on the road. Um,
Yeah,
between going to Ole Miss and
we've struggled the most at home. The 2 series we've lost have been at home.
dude,
This
they've
is
looked the team, and I posted I took it down for I think, but I Frank the Tank from Barstool
mhm.
literally said it perfect in the one video I had where it just looked like they had no heart. Like they didn't want. Like it wasn't like they weren't playing with the passion we normally see them play with. And I think you brought it up about Nate Snead needs to be doing something because whenever he's on the mound, dude, like you could just tell there's a lot more passion when he's playing.
Yeah,
Like he
there's a
just
lot of
plays with a
people.
fire.
Yeah, there's a lot of people saying that what almost put this team over the top today. I mean, we cut it to one run while he was on the mound. So yeah, I totally agree. There's a when you have somebody that brings that much energy out there pitching, it kind of lifts everybody. So maybe you start him on Sunday. I mean, I don't know. I mean, but
Phillips has got to go to the bullpen, dude.
it's
He's
it's so like it's so sad that he's doing this because other than that, he's like
he's
his
a
stuff
stud.
his stuff is awesome. I mean,
Yeah,
it's like
there's no hate to Phillips.
yeah, it's just, and I'm sure they're working on it with him. But I will say this: a lot of the philosophy that's got Tennessee to where they've been these last 4 or 5 years is overpower the guy at the plate and hit home runs, and we didn't do any of that this weekend. And I don't think you're going to see much of an approach change. They're probably not going to try to shut down the running game as much as we want them to, but you can't just let them go willy nilly. I mean, that's just a killer,
Well,
especially
my
against the
fat
team.
ass could steal on Marcus Phillips.
I mean, it wasn't even just him. I mean, how many bases did they steal today? Like 7 or 8. Like, you know,
Yeah, it's unheard of having 20 stolen bases in one weekend.
yeah. And this is times where you miss a guy like Cal Stark who was just lights out defensively. So we'll
Yeah,
see how that happens. Go ahead.
and then I also want to bring up why after the night Cannon Peebles had on Friday, do you sit him on Saturday? That
Yeah.
is listen. I love Tony. I love Tony. Everyone freaking out saying, "Oh, is it his time to go?" Absolutely not. But
People were saying that.
why? Yeah, there's people saying, "Is this Tony? Did he hit his peak?" Like, shut up, bro. We're 30 whatever and like 7. Like,
Yeah.
relax. But why is he not in the lineup, bro? He's a switch hitter who's getting hot, and you take him out? Come on now, bro. Come on.
I mean, the only guess I would have is that was the plan going into the weekend, but that's sometimes you got to change your plan, like. But again, I'm sure Tony has everything mapped out for how he wants to go in these next few weeks. The good news is LSU just struggled too. I mean, so it'll be whoever takes that series will be getting right. I mean, hopefully it's going to be Tennessee, but we do have the disadvantage of going on the road, and then after that you get Auburn and Vanderbilt at home before
Two
finishing
good
up.
teams, man.
Yeah, I mean these, like I said earlier, the last 4 weeks it's tough, and you get those two at home in the middle, bookended by LSU this weekend, Arkansas to end the year. So it'll define the season as far as where we land postseason wise. So
Yeah, I will say though, with having those 4 tough ones, is is good for this team. Going into the postseason, playing teams like that,
yeah,
you're gonna be prepared mentally. You're gonna understand, you know, because you're going into Baton Rouge. That place is gonna be lit because we've been talking mad shit,
yeah,
going into this one, and both teams are playing like no one thought they would. But
yeah.
LSU could pitch, man. Those guys, like we're struggling at the plate right now. This is not the team you want to struggle against
Mm-mm.
because Kentucky's car salesmen are keeping you or going 7 innings, and LSU's got some dudes pitching for him. So, but yeah,
Yeah,
no, this baseball team is going to be just fine. I mean, I think Tennessee could take 3 out of 4. I think that's what they have to do to host a super regional is they have to win 3 out of 4 of these series, and they absolutely could. But to me, you have to win your 2 at home, and you're
yeah.
gonna have to win one of the Arkansas and LSU ones, and that's gonna be tough.
I would even be okay with splitting it. I mean, because it's that hard. I mean, Vanderbilt just swept Georgia. Like
Georgia's a fluke though. They
we'll
can't.
see,
They can't.
we'll
They
see. Yeah,
can't do anything but hit.
yeah. I mean, Tennessee and LSU are both at 12-6 now. Arkansas. By the way, just speaking of Arkansas, A&M, like I said before that series, did turn around their season in Knoxville because they just beat Arkansas 2-1 in Fayetteville. But Tennessee's still in a good spot if they fix their issues down the stretch here. I don't think
Yeah,
much more needs to be said. So,
absolutely.
um, let's have a big hand real quick for Nico announcing his commitment to
Absolutely. Good job, Nico.
UCLA, and
Way to step up.
he'll be living in a 2-bedroom house that costs 1.2 million, and making probably a fourth of what he would have made at Tennessee. But that'll be the last thing I say about Nico, probably ever. So, but
He just handled it wrong, dude. Just absolutely handled it wrong.
yeah, but on Tennessee's side of things, no quarterback yet. Um, and I haven't really heard any rumblings. I think that's the way Tennessee would want it anyway. Um, but what are your thoughts on it so far? Like, what have you been hearing? I mean, just what do you think will happen?
So here's my thing: is a lot of people. I understand, Nate. We'll talk about our commitment from basketball after this, but it's Easter weekend. Um, the spring portal opened on Wednesday. We knew we weren't gonna hear anything till maybe the weekend.
Mm-hmm.
And again, the rumblings are, and this is coming from Tony Basilio, who has been pretty spot on about all this stuff. Um, Apparently, there's two quarterbacks that are two starter potential quarterbacks that Tennessee's been in talks with. Um, but I'm pretty sure one, or if not both, have brought up to where I know one of them, Tony said that uh, he was willing to take less money for Tennessee to go get some playmakers because both of them have been talking about how there's not really a lot of proven playmakers on Tennessee's offense, which is
Mm-hmm.
true. I mean, you got a lot of young talent, but they're unproven. But to me, and also Tennessee went after Josh Hoover, throwing pretty much the bank
Yep.
at him, and he said no, which I don't know why they even did, to be honest, because he said no to two schools beforehand. But to me, I'm not hitting the panic button until I'd say Wednesday because that gives it a whole week.
Yeah.
And I say Wednesday, I'm not saying commitment Wednesday, but give me some rumbling. Give me some give me a hey, we're in talks with this guy, should finish up within the week. Like give me something. I don't even know who the two could be. Like
Yeah.
everyone's saying Rocco Beck. My thing is he just posted something about
Donating.
donating.
Yeah.
I just don't think it's him. To me, I think it's the Illinois guy, Luke
Altmaier.
Altmaier.
Yeah.
I think he's one of them. Talking about the two starting guys.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know who the second one is, man. I really don't. I think Tennessee could go and get Angeli to compete for the job.
Yeah.
Um, and what's the other guy? There's one more guy that entered that I um, was thinking, but yeah, they need to do something because at this point, that's what I'm saying. Wednesday, if we don't hear anything, dude, I think it's gonna be a get a guy and let him compete.
Yeah. Um. So I've had plenty of time to mull it over just as the week progressed, and I was thinking about it like and I even put out a tweet about it. You know what would be better for the roster after what happened with Nico? Signing an ACC or Big 12 guy for some ridiculous amount of money, or getting a Angeli, a backup type veteran to come in and mentor the young guys, and maybe spending that money on the playmakers and shoring up other spots on the roster. I mean, and we always talk about wanting to play the young guys anyway. I mean,
Not quarterback though.
yeah. To me, it's just we just had trouble with a guy who was asking for all this money, and then a guy who's would be no doubt doing exactly what Nico just did to whoever he's leaving.
I don't believe that though.
Well, I mean, you're leaving him after spring practice for money.
Yeah, but Nico didn't leave us for money because Nico just left because he thought he was gonna pull this whole thing where he was gonna get more money. He got less money.
Yeah, I mean, the reason he left because he was trying to get more money. This was what I'm saying.
Yeah, but let's say Luke Altmaier, if he left Illinois, he's probably making
No.
300K, not even like. And the fact that Tennessee's coming after you and willing to, and here's my thing: a guy like that might only take like $1 million to get him to come over, and then you
Yep.
could spend that extra money on playmakers. But here's my thing: Tennessee, they better be stacking up on defense, dude, because it's not look right now as we speak. It's not looking like a 35 to 38 point offense type of team.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think the two guys we have now could do numbers wise what Nico did last year. But and I don't like the notion that both of them are like not even. I don't like when people say that we have nothing right now. We have to get somebody who's a starter. I mean, Merklinger, we got him over Georgia. We got McIntyre over Alabama and a bunch of other good schools. I mean, those two are capable guys. It's just they're young, unseasoned. That's why I would rather go the veteran route and just even if they bring back Gaston, like I just don't want to mix up things with money again. I mean, because we all just praised Heupel for not caving in to a kid who wants all that money, and would it not be a little bit hypocritical of us when he doesn't give some ACC or Big 12 quarterback whose name we didn't know 10 days ago $2.5 million? That's all I'm saying.
Hmm. I was kind of hoping Tennessee would go after Houston's quarterback.
I mean, we
Connor
could,
Weigman. Connor Weigman.
yeah. I mean, we could go after the guy who we could trade quarterbacks with UCLA. I mean,
Hey,
you don't know what's going
he
to happen.
was good at App State.
Yeah, I mean that. I'm just trying to look at it from a different angle now because I just don't want the locker room to get to what I've heard the way it was into last year and in the spring. So that's the only reason I'm looking at it from that standpoint. But I I mean, Heupel said that they're getting someone. They're not going into the year with two scholarship quarterbacks. That's not going to happen. They will pick up a quarterback. Like I have full faith in that. I've seen people float. You know, what if we go into the season with only two scholarship quarterbacks? That's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. Trust me. So
Yeah, I just I think you could get a starting guy not spending that. I think you could get a starting guy that could put up Nico numbers. I mean, and not
yeah,
spend $4 million.
yeah,
$4 million was like Josh Hoover to me is worth $4 million. I mean that kid. I understand he can't really run, but that dude could toss it. Um,
hmm
but I think if last resort to me is Angeli. To me, I think
See,
Angeli.
that's who I want Tennessee to get at this point because the thing that was excite me the most is not a transfer; it's starting McIntyre. Like that's what would excite me the most.
McIntyre's too little, dude. Like
He'll be all right.
he, no, no, he won't.
He'll be all right.
That dude. I just I think Tennessee, if they could get a starting guy, could be a very very good football team. Because to me, everyone's saying, "Oh, you lost Nico, you lost his 5-star talent." Dude, he had like 8 touchdowns in SEC play, 4 of them coming in the Vandy game. Like, I
Yeah.
think either way, you're gonna get that type of guy, regardless. That'll put up those numbers, if not better. But I mean, Rocco hasn't put anything out that he's not entering. Sawyer Robinson hasn't put out anything that he's not entering. To me, those guys, if I was those guys and I wasn't, I'd be posting that.
Yeah.
So like I think Tennessee is in talks with guys that you know could be really good. So I don't know. I think, like I said, give it Wednesday, make it a full week, and then if still nothing, then you got to really worry.
Yeah. Um. Just imagine this for a second. True
Go ahead.
freshman, Tennessee guy, big frame, second coming of Dan Marino, George McIntyre, putting up 3,000 yards in his first year.
He's not going to start.
you know, I know you said earlier about the freshmen. You don't like it for quarterbacks, but I support it for every position. True freshman quarterbacks start all the time across the country. Um,
Well, it all
and
depends on who we get.
yeah, I mean, Heupel may not have a choice but to start McIntyre, but I have a feeling he'd try Merklinger first, just based on
Well,
his track record.
yeah, I would say. Well, no, like I said, I think he's just too little, man. Like he, to me, McIntyre is smaller than how like Nico was when he got here.
Yeah, I mean, he's got a few months to maybe put on 10, 15 pounds of muscle, but we'll see. I'm just not. Even if Tennessee does end up with, I think the worst case is begging Gaston to come back for six figures. Um, but even if that happens, I'll still be excited to watch the young bucks. I said in the last episode, I think this year's a pass for Heupel anyway. Whenever you have what happened happened, because wins wise, Nico leaving was not good for next year's, you know, the aspirations of what Tennessee wants to do. But again, it's what had to be done. So, any more thoughts on that situation before we move on to some other news?
Yeah, just to me, Tennessee is gonna like they have to go get a guy that it's like a one and done year. You do not get a young guy that could come back next year. It has to be a one and done type guy,
Yeah.
unless it's like Rocco or whoever, like to where you know you can't go get a young guy. It has to be someone to where it won't hurt the young guys coming in.
Yeah. I mean, the last thing you want is somebody balling out who has a year of eligibility left and Faison getting scared off, or even McIntyre getting scared off. I mean, Seth Hughes said this on Reed's Ranch podcast. He said, eventually Tennessee will hit on a 5-star quarterback if they keep getting them. So, and maybe it's McIntyre, maybe it's Faison, but
Faison
I,
looks nuts.
I totally agree with you. It needs to be a rental, a mercenary if they're going to go with a guy out of the portal to come in and start. So, the only other thing from football I thought was noteworthy that you had a tweet about was, we had Christian Charles transfer out, John Slaughter transfer out, a reserve offensive lineman transfer out, but Larry Johnson transferred out this weekend as well, which, you tweeted it. It leads us both to believe that David Sanders is as advertised in spring practice.
Hmm.
So,
I mean, the dude's insane. He looks the part, and
mhm,
it'll be interesting. I mean, he's obviously going to start at this point. Tennessee's offensive line really does look good
yeah,
as it sits right now, but the depth piece is where you run into some issues um, when it comes to that. But I mean, other than that, the guys leaving aren't really hurting us. That's what worries me about the football thing is there's no transfers coming in. Like they offered the BYU wide receiver, San Jose State wide receiver. Um,
that's about all I've heard as far
yeah,
as
but to me, like you lost a safety. Go get that Houston kid.
yeah, yeah,
You got the extra money. Go get him, man.
yeah. I guess the pickings are just slim in this portal window. I mean, but Tennessee needs to go out and add a few pieces. You know, like I said earlier, to shore up things along the roster. I mean, besides quarterback now, I think Tennessee has a roster is similar to what they had last year with what we got returning and the young guys coming up. But it'll all depend on that quarterback, however the quarterback position goes down. So um, that's about it for football. Unless you have anything else,
It's gonna be someone
softball.
we're not expecting.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's gonna be it's gonna be something will happen and we will pick up a quarterback. Um, uh, softball with another sweep. I didn't really follow it this weekend. There's too much other stuff going on with Easter and everything, but they did get the sweep. But after all the news of not getting any quarterbacks last week, not getting anything for football, then Elijah Freeman commits to Auburn out of D2. At LMU, Kentucky beats us in baseball. We were feeling a little bit down, but a few hours ago, one Nate Ament committed to Rick Barnes, the best recruit the program has ever gotten. Fourth best player in the country, third, depending on who you're looking at. He's a top 5 recruit. He's going to be a lottery pick if all goes well. Um, I mean, remember a month ago we were talking about is Rick Barnes going to retire? And then he goes and signs a talent like this. It's pretty remarkable.
Oh yeah, I mean his comps are Kevin Durant,
Yep.
and guess who coached Kevin Durant? Yes, Rick Barnes did. Um, the kid's incredible. Dude could shoot. Um, he's probably going to be playing the three, which is a huge mismatch. Having a 6'9"
Yeah.
guy that could shoot the three. Um, but yeah, this kid, I think he's going to be an instant starter. Um, you don't pay this kid that much money. You paid this kid to come play basketball, not sit on the bench.
Yeah.
So, um, yeah, he's projected to be a top 5 pick in the NBA draft in 2026. Um, but yeah, insane talent to get him over Duke, Kentucky, and Arkansas and Louisville. That's a big time get. Um, there's a
Yeah.
reason those teams were after him. So
Yeah. If you haven't, anybody listening, if you haven't watched his AAU highlights or any highlight package you can find, you need to. Um, he's bouncy. He blocks shots. He can shoot. He can dunk. He's the type of guy that is worthy of being picked in the lottery. I mean, really, as far as recruits go in program history, the only other comparable guys we've gotten is Scotty Hobson, Tobias Harris, Kennedy Chandler, and maybe Jaden Springer and Keon Johnson, maybe Josiah coming out of high school. But this guy's legit, and it's a huge ad for next year, no doubt. Are we going to get Rodney Rice? What are you feeling about that, buddy?
yeah, I think it's between us and Villanova. I think it's up to him on. I feel like his agent threw in the USC visit, kind of like what Chaz Lanier did last year, and his
Mm-hmm.
agent throwing in that extra visit. I think it's between us and Villanova. Villanova's offering way more money. Is Rodney Rice willing to come play with his, former roommate and take a little bit less money? He's still going to get paid good, but is he willing to take a little bit less money and come play here at Tennessee? I think so. I think Tennessee is going to get Rodney Rice because there's no better pitch right now than coming to play here because you got Gillespie, Rice, Ament, um, Carey, Phillips, Okpara,
Yep.
Estrella. I mean, you got a good team here. Rodney Rice would fill a big slot in that 2 spot. And then if Tennessee can land a couple more shooters, you got a good team here.
Yeah. Um, I just saw this just now, Jim. Oklahoma guard Duke Miles has planned 4 visits. One of them is to Tennessee on Wednesday. Um, so
Yeah.
maybe that's your other guy. If we don't get Rice, even if we do get Rice, you still have 2 scholarship spots to fill here. So, but yeah, Duke Miles coming in on a visit on Wednesday. He also planned visits to A&M, USC, and Baylor. So
I like
that
this guy. I like him off the bench. Last year shot 43% from 3. I
yep,
mean,
that's what you were
that's
saying. You were saying that earlier to me. We need to add another shooter, even if we do get Rice. Like this might be your man. So we'll see. Like I also think that we're going to land Rice after Freeman committed to Auburn. I mean, it's just another spot um, that opened up on the roster when he committed to Auburn. And he could come back and play with his buddy Jacoby Gillespie at the point. I mean, it's what we've done so far. We got the 4 high school recruits. We got the 4th one today, and I meant Carey Gillespie. I mean, if you had Rice and Miles, I mean, you're talking about
and the
you know,
Kansas kid too. The Kansas kid was supposed to visit us too.
yeah. I mean, you're talking about as good a team as last year, talent wise, if not more, if we are able to land Rice and Miles. So it's pretty exciting. And like I said to start this talk, you know, we all thought this was Rick's last run, and then he goes out and does what he's done so far. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, even if we add guys who aren't that big of names, I still think Tennessee can be a top 10 Final Four contender next year, like as it stands right now. But of course, I want them to add as much as they can. Rice being the number one priority. So,
I don't know, dude. I think this might be the most talented team. If you land Rice,
mhm.
and like I said, you can mix and match the four. Um, and really, I mean, you could put the Ament at the four. He's 6'9",
Yeah.
and you can really spread that other team's four out towards the 3-point line. Um, but yeah, let's say that you land Rice, you got Gillespie, Rice, Ament, whoever at the four, and Akpara. I mean, and you got the people coming off the bench as the front court is looking real good. I mean, the fact that you got Estrella coming back, Phillips coming back, Carey and Akpara,
Mhm.
that's huge. And then Carey is he could score.
Yeah.
He's your post threat, and it's
He's
gonna
an
be nice.
he's an energy guy too. I remember we talked about it when he committed a couple weeks ago. You know how much we hated playing
Oh,
against him this year.
I hated him, dude.
Pissed you off so bad. Just reading a little bit more about Duke Miles. There was a guy on VolQuest who asked Grant Ramey, who put the story on VolQuest. You know, is this a Rodney Rice contingency plan, or could you see them both committing? And he said he thinks both Miles and Rice could fit, but at this point, he doesn't know what Rice is waiting on. He says the longer that one goes, he thinks the less likely it is Tennessee lands him, which I think you can say that about any recruitment when the numbers being floated around about what what Villanova is allegedly offering him. You know that makes sense to me. I mean, I don't know how big Tennessee's basketball purse is, but that two
I
point
think
five
it's pretty
million,
big.
yeah, but 2.5 million to a school who really doesn't play
I'm
anything.
pretty
But
sure we offered him that, and someone was offering him like 3 or 3.5 or something. Because I think it was like $1 million less than what he would have gotten at the
yeah,
other school.
can we not get like a 500K discount for coming to play with your buddy? You know, we'd have
I think
two.
Tennessee lands him.
Yeah,
My thing is like I said, Easter weekend. Maybe he didn't want to commit on Easter Sunday. Maybe he commits tomorrow. I don't know. Um,
yeah,
I'm more worried about the football team because it's a lot closer. Uh, if you're gonna get a starting quarterback, get him the playbook tomorrow or yesterday. I mean, it is what it is. But yeah, I think Rodney Rice is the ball.
yeah.
I think Rick Barnes is on X Games mode right now, trying to get his guy.
Yeah, yeah. Like I said a couple times already, this is pretty amazing what he's been doing so far. That's about all I wanted to go over tonight, man. You know, these are interesting times, and then
Yeah.
it's just there's a lot of news breaking every moment of the day, and hopefully it's good news for Tennessee coming up in these next few days,
Oh yeah.
going into next weekend. So, anything else, man?
Nope. No panic button yet
No.
for baseball or football. And let's go get Rodney Rice.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna end it with the go balls right there.
Let's go get Rocco Altmaier or Angeli. Let's go get Rodney. Let's go get Duke Miles. Let's just ride. Tennessee's getting everybody, man.
Let's
Oh,
go,
and
man.
when Titans draft a future Hall of Famer on Thursday night, me and Bryce will talk about it. So, go
Giants
Balls,
are
baby.
Giants are trading for the number one pick, getting Cam Ward. Just saying.
Okay, I hope not. Go Balls.